What if the universe had a map, etched not in stars, but in stories? Welcome to World Trees, Serpents, and Skies, mapping the universe in myth. Across cultures and centuries, ancient people envisioned the cosmos as a sacred structure, with towering trees, coiling serpents, and divine skies connecting heaven, earth, and the underworld. In this video, we explore how these powerful symbols shaped mythologies and revealed humanity's deepest spiritual truths. From Norse Yggdrasil to Mesoamerican world trees, from sky gods to underworld guardians, discover how ancient minds charted the unseen realms of existence. Let's dive into the mythic map of the universe, the mythic blueprint of the cosmos. Long before the invention of telescopes or star charts, humanity sought to understand the universe through the lens of myth. From the frozen north to the tropical jungles, people saw the world as more than mere geography. They experienced it as a living cosmos. To map this sacred universe, they turned to powerful archetypes. The world tree that anchored the cosmos, the serpent that slithered between worlds, and the skies where gods ruled from above. These symbols didn't just describe the structure of the physical world. They offered a spiritual framework that helped cultures understand life, death, the soul, and the divine. In this essay, we explore how these mythic elements combined into a symbolic architecture of the cosmos, transcending culture and time. The world tree, axis mundi of the cosmos. The world tree is one of the most widespread symbols in global mythology, appearing in Norse, Mayan, Slavic, African, Indian, and many other traditions. It represents the axis mundi, the cosmic pillar that connects heaven, earth, and the underworld. Norse mythology, Yggdrasil. Perhaps the most famous example is Yggdrasil, the great ash tree of Norse cosmology. Its roots delve deep into the underworlds, Hel, Niflheim, and Jotunheim, while its branches stretch high into the heavens. Nestled within its limbs are divine and mythic beings. An eagle sits atop the branches, a serpent gnaws at the roots, and the Norns, fates, tend the well of Ord at its base. Yggdrasil is not merely a tree. It is the structure upon which all existence hangs. Its suffering and trembling during Ragnarok signify the unraveling of the entire universe. Mesoamerican mythology, the ceiba tree. In Mayan cosmology, the ceiba or huacachan is the sacred tree that connects the upper world heaven, the middle world earth, and the underworld Xibalba. Often depicted with birds on top, jaguars, or humans on the trunk, and serpents below, the tree served as a portal for shamans and gods to travel between realms. The four corners of the universe were marked with trees as well, showing the expansive cosmological role of this symbol. Hindu and Buddhist traditions, Kalpavriksha and Bodhi tree. In Hinduism, the Kalpavriksha is a divine, wish-fulfilling tree that emerges in sacred texts as a symbol of abundance and connection to the divine. Similarly, the Bodhi tree under which the Buddha attained enlightenment becomes a spiritual axis, a site where human and divine wisdom converge. Symbolic meaning. The world tree symbolizes connection between worlds, spiritual growth and evolution, permanence amidst cosmic cycles, sacred geography, mythical realms structured around a vertical center. Its omnipresence suggests that humans, regardless of location, instinctively envisioned the universe as a structured and layered reality, anchored by a living pillar. 2. Serpents, guardians, destroyers, and cosmic currents. While the world tree connects realms, serpents often flow between them, symbolizing energy, transformation, and chaos. The serpent is one of the most paradoxical symbols in mythology, representing both creation and destruction, wisdom and temptation, life and death. Norse mythology, Jormungandr. Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, is a giant sea serpent who encircles the earth, biting its tail, a representation of the Ouroboros, or eternal cycle. Its mere existence maintains cosmic balance, but when it releases its tail, Ragnarok, the end of the world, begins. The serpent is both a protector and a threat, a living boundary between chaos and order. Mesoamerican mythology, Quetzalcoatl. In Aztec and Toltec traditions, Quetzalcoatl is the feathered serpent, a god of wind, knowledge, and creation. Unlike the chaotic serpents of Norse myth, Quetzalcoatl is benevolent, bridging earth and sky. As a creator god, he brings civilization, language, and maize to humanity, acting as a divine intermediary between realms. Hindu and Buddhist mythology, Nagas. In India, Nagas are semi-divine serpentine beings who live in water or underground realms. Sometimes protective and sometimes vengeful, they embody fertility, death, and the mysteries of the underworld. In Buddhism, the serpent king Mukalinda protects the Buddha during his meditation, symbolizing both the containment and harnessing of primal forces. Mesopotamian mythology, Tiamat. In Babylonian myth, Tiamat is a primordial sea serpent or dragon goddess whose body is split by the god Marduk to form the world. Her chaotic essence is transformed into the architecture of the universe. Sky from her ribs, earth from her body. Symbolic meaning. Serpents in mythology often represent cycles, birth, death, rebirth, transformation and initiation, guardianship of hidden knowledge, chaos energy that must be harnessed or transcended. Serpents flow along the axis of the World Tree, coiling through realms, stirring the cosmic waters, and challenging heroes and gods alike. 3. The skies, realms of light, order, and divinity. If the serpent embodies the primal earthbound force, and the tree bridges all things, then the sky represents divine clarity, order, and destiny. It is where gods dwell, stars shine, and cosmic law is written. Egyptian mythology, Nut. In ancient Egypt, the sky goddess Nut arches over the earth god Geb, her body covered in stars. Each night she swallows the sun and gives birth to it again in the morning. The sky is not distant. It is alive, maternal, and cyclical. Mesopotamian cosmology, the vaulted sky. The Babylonians and Hebrews envision the sky as a firm dome, the firmament, separating the waters above from those below. The stars were embedded in it, and portals existed through which rain and divine messages could descend. Above it, gods resided in splendor, shaping the fates of mortals. Chinese mythology, the celestial order. In Taoist and Confucian traditions, heaven Tian is both a place and a moral force. The Jade Emperor rules from his heavenly palace, and the movements of the stars are seen as reflections of earthly virtue or corruption. Astronomy and astrology were sacred tools for understanding heaven's will. Symbolic meaning. The sky often symbolizes divine authority and spiritual truth, cosmic cycles and time, the realm of ancestors and gods, hope, clarity, and transcendence. Skies in myth remind humans that there is something above, something higher to aspire to, whether in thought, spirit, or destiny. 4. The three-tiered universe, a common cosmological framework. Despite vast geographical differences, many ancient cultures imagine the cosmos as a three-tiered structure. Heaven, realm of gods, stars, divine law. Earth, realm of humans, struggle, balance. Underworld, realm of the dead, ancestors, hidden knowledge. This vertical stratification is consistent across shamanic traditions, where shamans climb the world tree or fly to heaven during trance. Christianity, with heaven above, hell below, and earth in the middle. Dante's Divine Comedy, structured into Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Kabbalah's Tree of Life, mapping spiritual ascent through 10 divine spheres. These mythic geographies are more than symbolic. They reflect how humans structured not only the cosmos, but morality, hierarchy, and the afterlife. The inner journey. Myths as spiritual maps. Beyond cosmic architecture. These symbols also mirror the human soul's journey. The world tree becomes a ladder of consciousness, the serpent a catalyst for inner transformation, and the sky a vision of spiritual union. In many traditions, initiates must descend into the underworld, death of the ego, climb the sacred tree or mountain, spiritual awakening, enter the celestial realm, divine realization. Shamanic rites, mystic meditations, and religious pilgrimages echo this path. Myth becomes a map for transcendence. 6. Modern reflections. The symbols endure. Even in the modern world, these mythic symbols persist. Christian tradition speaks of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge in Eden, with the serpent as the tempter and the sky as God's domain. Fantasy literature draws from the same well, the Tree of Souls avatar, the Great Deku Tree Zelda, or the World Serpent God of War. Psychology uses the serpent Jung's archetype of transformation, and trees, symbols of individuation and personal growth. Why do these symbols endure? Because they tap into timeless truths about our existence. They offer not just stories, but structures, ways to understand life's mysteries. Mapping the invisible. The ancient cosmos was not seen with satellites. It was felt, intuited, and imagined through myth. The world tree, serpent, and sky are not just elements of storytelling. They are the scaffolding of ancient cosmology, religious thought, and spiritual psychology. These myths served as cosmic blueprints, helping early people locate themselves in a vast and mysterious universe. They reminded humanity that we are rooted in the earth, challenged by transformation, and forever drawn toward the sky. To explore these symbols is to rediscover a sacred map, one that still guides us if we know how to read it. Myth as more than story. Myths are not merely ancient tales told around fires. They are symbolic narratives carrying deep psychological, spiritual, and philosophical truths. While some see them as primitive attempts to explain natural events, others, particularly thinkers like Joseph Campbell, Carl Jung, and Mircea Eliade, have revealed another dimension. Myths are spiritual maps, guides to the inner journey of the soul. Whether it's the hero venturing into the unknown, the descent into the underworld, or the climb toward the heavens, myths mirror our personal evolution from unconscious existence to conscious awakening. In this exploration, we uncover how myths across cultures portray the inner journey, the process of transformation, death and rebirth, and the return to wholeness. These stories don't simply entertain, they awaken, challenge, and initiate. The archetypal journey, the hero's path within. Perhaps the most well-known structure of the inner journey is the hero's journey, popularized by Joseph Campbell in The Hero with a Thousand Faces. It's a pattern found across global mythology. A character receives a call, ventures into the unknown, faces trials, gains insight, and returns transformed. This journey is a metaphor for inner growth. The ordinary world, our starting point, life before awareness. The call to adventure, a crisis, dream, or deep longing stirs a soul. Crossing the threshold. The ego resists, but the self steps into the unknown. Trials and initiations, inner demons, fears, and illusions surface. Abyss and revelation. The dark night of the soul gives birth to awakening. Return with the elixir. The soul, now transformed, brings back wisdom. In truth, the journey is not external. It happens within. The dragon the hero slays may be fear, the treasure discovered may be insight, and the return signifies integration. 2. Descent. The mythic underworld as inner darkness. One of the most profound mythic symbols of the inner journey is descent into the underworld. This isn't just a visit to the land of the dead. It represents the plunge into the unconscious, where we confront our shadow. Inanna's descent. In the Sumerian myth, the goddess Inanna descends into the underworld to visit her sister Ereshkigal. Stripped of her titles, garments, and powers at each of the 7 gates, she arrives naked and vulnerable. There she dies and is later resurrected, emerging transformed. This mirrors our own spiritual crises, moments when we are stripped of identity, certainty, and ego. The underworld becomes a place of death, stillness, and rebirth. Orpheus and Eurydice. In Greek mythology, Orpheus descends into Hades to retrieve his beloved Eurydice. He charms the dead with his music, but fails the test of trust. He looks back and loses her forever. The journey teaches about faith, attachment, and loss. Psyche's trials. In the tale of Cupid and Psyche, Psyche is sent on impossible tasks, including descending into the underworld to retrieve beauty. She, like many inner seekers, must face self-doubt, loneliness, and the limits of logic before finding her divine nature. Symbolic meaning. The underworld is not hell in a moral sense. It's the depths of the unconscious, where pain, trauma, and repressed parts of the self reside. Descent myths teach. True wisdom arises in darkness. Death of the ego precedes spiritual rebirth. You must lose yourself to find your true self. 3. Trials, monsters, and the shadow. Along the journey, the hero or seeker faces monsters, temptations, and tricksters. These figures represent aspects of the shadow, the repressed, denied, or unconscious parts of ourselves, as explored by Carl Jung. Beowulf and Grendel. In the Anglo-Saxon epic, Beowulf fights the monster Grendel, a creature of the night who terrorizes a kingdom. But Grendel can be seen as a projection of Beowulf's own fear and aggression. By facing the monster, he faces himself. The labors of Heracles. Each of Heracles' 12 labors involves not just physical challenges, but moral and spiritual tests. He confronts beasts, tyrants, and even himself. Each labor a step in purification and mastery of the self. Buddhist Mara. As the Buddha sits under the Bodhi tree, Mara, the tempter, sends armies, daughters, and illusions to shake his resolve. But these aren't just external enemies, they're inner distractions. Fear, desire, pride. The Buddha's stillness defeats them. The symbolism of the monster. Monsters in myth embody fear of death, failure, truth. Desire, greed, lust, ego. Division, the unintegrated self. To conquer the monster is to accept and integrate the shadow, not by killing it, but by seeing it clearly. 4. The sacred feminine and inner union. In many myths, the hero eventually meets a divine feminine figure, a goddess, priestess, or queen, who represents wisdom, intuition, or the soul itself. Odysseus and Circe. In Homer's Odyssey, Circe at first turns men into swine, a symbol of being lost in base instincts. But Odysseus, by confronting her without fear, earns her respect. She becomes his guide. She symbolizes intuition and transformation. Dante and Beatrice. In the Divine Comedy, Beatrice leads Dante through paradise. She's not a romantic figure, but an allegory of divine love and spiritual awakening. Through her, Dante beholds the divine. Jung's anima. Carl Jung identified this feminine presence as the anima, the inner feminine aspect of the male psyche, and the animus for women. Union with this aspect brings wholeness. These stories suggest that to complete the journey, the hero must reconcile logic with intuition, action with surrender, mind with heart. The divine feminine leads to the sacred marriage, an inner union of opposites. V. Ascent. climbing the tree, mountain, or ladder. Just as descent marks the confrontation with darkness, ascent represents the movement toward enlightenment, clarity, and divinity. The Tower of Babel. Though often read as a tale of hubris, the Tower of Babel reflects humanity's longing to ascend to heaven. Myths warn that without spiritual humility, ascent leads to collapse. Jacob's Ladder. In the Hebrew Bible, Jacob dreams of a ladder reaching into heaven, with angels ascending and descending. It marks a sacred axis, an invitation to spiritual elevation. Mount Sinai and Mount Meru. Moses climbs Mount Sinai to receive divine law. In Hindu and Buddhist cosmology, Mount Meru is the cosmic center linking all realms. Climbing the mountain is awakening. The Bodhi tree. The Bodhi tree under which the Buddha meditated is not just a symbol of stillness. It is a spiritual tree, a vertical axis of transformation. As the Buddha sat, his consciousness ascended through layers of awareness. The ascent symbolizes realization of higher truths, freedom from illusion, union with the divine source. 6. Death, rebirth, and the elixir. At the heart of every inner journey is death and rebirth, a spiritual shedding of the old self. This process is not literal, but symbolic. The death of illusion, of fear, of ego, makes space for the birth of a new self. Jesus Christ. In Christian mythology, Christ's death and resurrection is the central spiritual event. It's not only a redemptive act, but a pattern, dying to the world and rising in spirit. Osiris. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris is killed and dismembered, then resurrected by Isis. He becomes Lord of the Underworld, a symbol of the immortal soul. Phoenix. The phoenix, from Egyptian and Greek myth, burns to ashes and rises again, a universal image of inner transformation through suffering. The return with the elixir. The final stage of the hero's journey is the return. The seeker brings back wisdom, not just for themselves, but for their community. This is the sacred gift: insight, healing, creativity, love. The message is clear. Your journey is not only about your own salvation, it is also about service. 7. Myth in modern life, living the inner journey. Today we no longer speak of Zeus or Ra or Quetzalcoatl, yet the mythic journey lives on in psychotherapy, confronting trauma, exploring the unconscious, spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, inner work, art and literature. From Star Wars to The Matrix, modern myths reflect timeless themes. Life challenges, illness, loss, love, failure, and transformation are all thresholds. We all walk the mythic path. Each heartbreak is a descent. Each insight is an ascent. Each choice to love, heal, or forgive is a step on the sacred spiral. Myth as mirror and map. Myths endure because they reflect truths deeper than fact. They are symbolic mirrors of our inner lives, our spiritual longings, our psychological battles. They don't tell us what to believe. They show us how to live, how to transform, how to grow. To walk the inner journey is to become your own hero, to descend into your own underworld, face your monsters, meet your soul, ascend the sacred mountain, and return, not with riches, but with wisdom. In the end, you are the myth, the seeker, the slayer, the lover, the healer. Myth is not something we read. It is something we live. Thank you for joining us on this mythic journey through world trees, serpents, and skies, the ancient symbols that shaped our understanding of the universe. These stories aren't just legends. They're spiritual maps passed down through generations, guiding us through the mysteries of life, death, and beyond. If you enjoyed exploring these cosmic connections, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more mythological deep dives. Share your thoughts or favorite myths in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep reaching for the skies and digging into the roots of myth.